from what I've read, it can sound like things can get a little difficult at times.
A little, at times.
And at times there can be a lot of fear about going into something unknown. And I've read about things like the dark night of the soul, which sound really ominous. And I mean, I don't really know what the dark night of the soul is. Does it exist?
Well, it did for me. But everyone's different, you know, and I guess someone can pass through their dark night of the soul, like, you know, oh, that was that, you know. It's like everyone's different. For me, it hit me hard, and I have no actual belief in a soul or a self or anything like that, but it is a moment of, for a lot of people, I think a lot of people come to the teaching before it might happen to them. I think it's more than it being sort of this harrowing sort of moment of hell. It's more actually like a vigorous self-examination and a realisation that I don't know what I'm on about. That, you know, that's what it was for me. It was just realising I'd come all the way down this life, trying all these different things, and there'd always been my ideas and following my nose and, you know, trying this and trying that. And I came to a point where I couldn't trust my own thinking anymore because I was still suffering. And it's that kind of recognition. The Buddha said that there are those that do not know that they do not know. And there comes a point where someone knows that they do not know. And that's the dark bit. That's the dark. But the light is, when somebody knows that they do not know, they suddenly become open and receptive and are able to then work in new areas, in new directions, different doors open that show potential and opportunity. And so life, from being this closed, you know, dark place, suddenly opens up with new possibilities. Because the moment you know that you do not know, you've lost your conceit. And then you're humble. So it's the dark night of the soul, whatever that is really just humility, the onset of genuine spiritual humility, which is a good thing.
Yeah, but could be painful.
I think it's always going to be painful, you know, pride before a fall and all that. But you know, I being an unenlightened human being is painful.
Yeah. And what makes that stage so painful? You know, if you've got to go, you know, say it's something that you've got to go through to get to the other side.
No, I mean, because like I say, it could be different for different people.
Yeah.
There are various stages on the insight path that are trying, because what we're seeing is really at odds with the way we thought life was. So there's that rub. Yeah. And it takes a certain time for the old wrong views to fall away and completely embracing the new way of seeing things, and that's bound to be a struggle, that's bound to be a challenge. Now, for different people at different stages, they'll enter into one of those periods. It may be more or less, you know, difficult. We don't know that, and that's the really important thing to remember. Is not to get this sense of, oh, I've got this really dark, ominous thing on the horizon, because it might not be like that at all. And just to be really open and to perhaps just place your efforts and intentions on what's going on now, and let the future take care of itself. You know? Because we're incredible beings. We're able to deal with an awful lot. You know, we've got depth to us, and things come to us when we need them to, and we find that they help us grow. So be of good cheer. Don't worry, we fight.
I think it was Alan who said that some people have doom fantasies and others have just don't have two fantasies. I don't know what the other type of person is.
Happy fantasies. Yeah, fulfillment fantasies maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'd more err on the side of fulfillment rather than doom. But that shows you how arbitrary it is. And it shows you that it's just, you can take the positive or the negative side, it's still really the basic same, mental process, which is imagining another, something else, something other. Whereas reality is just simply this, isn't it? It's just being here now.
I suppose there are some people that find it really hard to be here now. I mean, just from my point of view, when I was in the garden just now, it was constantly having, thinking about the past or the future. Good. And I just had to keep bringing myself back. There didn't seem to be much I could do about it. I mean, first of all, that's fine, because that's the reality, that's what you're dealing with at this time. So it's having the patience and the perseverance to keep bringing the mind back, to reattending to what you're doing mindfully, knowing full well that mindfulness is transient and it falls away and you fall back into thinking arises again because of the changing conditions, and you're in that for a while, and then kind of thinking that it is, and then bring it back. If someone persists with that, their mindfulness strengthens, their concentration strengthens, their clear comprehension of what's going on strengthens, and that period of time of being away lessens. But it's fine. We think that's natural, that's normal. And we actually think here now. It's actually impossible not to be here now. So, but I know what you mean. We just get caught up in some thinking, but that's fine. The important thing is not to burden yourself, I think. For someone not to feel like it should be different. Right.
Because it wasn't, it was that. That's what it was. And that was fine.
Yeah, I suppose you could get into another pickle altogether if you were there resisting what
you'd discovered.
What had happened.
Yeah.
What it was. So earlier you said that you didn't believe in a self. What do you mean by that?
The course of the training is such that it shows you, just looking at conscious experience as it unfolds, that it all unfolds without the requirement of any enduring entity, separate entity. It just isn't required. It's just an assumption, a basic assumption that everyone makes. Understandably, but mistakenly. And the whole point of any spiritual training, however it manifests, is to get us to stop and look and observe the fact that it all unfolds wonderfully, mysteriously, all by itself, and there is no requirement for a separate, enduring self, a conscious witness or anything behind it all. It just unfolds.
And I mean, I'm sitting here and I have this sense that I am an individual. I assume that your position is a bit different to that.
Well, you retain a sense of separateness for the purposes of functioning in the conventional world. So if you call out to me and go, Paul, I will respond. I won't just go, there's no such thing. That would be nuts. But at the same time, there is the complete seeing through of the illusion. There's a complete seeing through that it doesn't actually relate to anything ultimately real. So it's this wonderful position that you're in, that you're able to play as though it were all real, at the same time knowing that none of it, you just don't have to be concerned about any of it. It just all unfolds miraculously all by itself. So really, I mean, you could almost say that the universe just moment by moment takes on these wonderful appearances. That's kind of way out.
So I mean, as an unenlightened person believing in individual self, what am I? Oh, really?
Well, that's a difficult thing, isn't it? Because really, you are the universe. But there's no you and there's no universe. There is just this. It's just the unfolding of this. So I think the key for me was the focusing on my momentary experience and observing the true characteristics of what arise. So you're looking at hearing and seeing and tasting and touching and smelling, and you're observing thoughts and feelings and perceptions and so forth. And it is going through the process of insight, of just acknowledging what's there, seeing how it's all conditioned and conditioning, and how none of it has anything more than a momentary existence before disappearing. And just going with that and finding out directly yourself, because all I'm left with is just this flowery nonsense of going, oh, you're the universe, which is really unhelpful.
I quite like that, actually, when you say things like, oh, it's just the universe.
Oh, okay.
It's the universe. I think that's quite good.
It is, yeah. That's all that's happening. We're not saying that there isn't intelligence and there isn't consciousness and there isn't, but consciousness is only momentary. But yeah, it's all going. It is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And it's just getting to the point where you're free of any emotional dependency on any of it, so that you can the mind can just stop and rest with what is and just be attentive. And there's a moment comes when it just suddenly becomes so clear. It all just goes, oh, the whole thing is just suddenly just self-evident. But nothing anyone can say. I mean, that's why the Buddha developed, training, because nothing he could say was going to make that difference. You can't communicate it, unfortunately.
Well, were there some people that became enlightened through listening to one of the Buddha's discourses?
They were, and clearly he was pointing towards, but they were then looking at what he was pointing at.
As he was talking.
Yeah, exactly.